Going for boost. Well, I think going for boost, if you're a boost merchant, like someone like AJ or someone, you go for boost.
100% of the time.
Yes.
Always, every second of every game. Ball's going in your net, don't worry about it. Go get the boost and make sure you've got the full 100 to celebrate with the other team.
Oh God. Never. Yeah, never. Always go for ball.
Yeah.
Number one rule of Rocket League.
Welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, where three aggressively average Rocket League players talk about everything RLCS with your hosts, Ace, Code Red Jack, Kyle Cube, and AJ Binky. So, if you've ever wondered when the best time to go for Boost Over Ball is, you've come to the right place.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, welcome. Hello. Thank you for tuning in, especially if it's your first show. Strap in. Good luck. Here we go. I'm Kyle, K-Cube, and today I got with me Code Red Jack and AJ Binky. How's it going, guys?
Going pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Well, today we will be talking about some more roster rumors, just a couple of them that we haven't touched on yet before jumping into RLCS offseason events, tournaments taking place, and some information that RL Esports tweeted out. But first, I'm going to go through some housekeeping items pretty quick. We have some exciting interviews coming down the pipeline for you guys, content creators, people in the RL scene, and a potential crossover with another podcast that we have in the works right now. We are also currently building out a merch store, I think through Shopify, and making some new designs to make that available for you guys pretty shortly. But without further ado, we will jump right into the show. Ace, take it away.
You got it. All right, so starting off today, we're going to talk transfer rumors, everybody. So here's what we got. We know that Chicago has officially played his last match as a member of G2. Tomic is going to be teaming with Stizzy and Tox and are looking for an org to represent. KC, they're set to compete with the roster of Vatira, Rise, and Atau, which is 2/3 of Moist coming back together. Pretty exciting news. And then, what do you guys think? Do you think that roster, 2/3 Moist, coming back together, has what it takes to compete with Vitality?
AJ, what do you think about that
Just
one?
bring back Joyo. We all want it. Get rid of Vital. Bring back Joyo. I don't even care what org it's under. Just make it happen. Make the roster happen. But no, I don't think they could. Well, I mean, maybe after the world champion curse or whatever, maybe they can take down Vitality. But like the way Vitality was, I don't think they can. I don't think they can take down Vitality.
Well, that full Moist roster that we're looking to have come back, isn't that the roster that we had that amazing series? Was it 2 world championships ago between them and
Moist Furia?
Furia, yeah.
Yep.
So like even 2 seasons ago, that while that was a great roster, wasn't enough to make it all the way. So I would say probably not enough to compete with Vitality.
I am of a different opinion. I'm a different opinion on this one. I do think that they have that is a team talented enough to on paper to compete with Vitality. So, I mean, it's certainly going to be interesting to see kind of how they slot together, right? Because Vatira, in his own right, is one of the best players in the world, and Atau is one of the most mechanical players in the world. So, does Vatira play, kind of third man back line? He has some great defensive performances, but how do they fit together? So, and it hasn't been confirmed yet. Obviously, this was shift reporting, but Rise now set to join another EU team, kind of continuing his tour around the region. So we should be set to see some exciting Rocket League. But also, speaking of Rocket League, AJ, why don't you take us away with some of the stuff that RL Esports has started to tweet out?
Yeah, so RL Esports confirmed that RLCS is set to return in 2024, with details coming at a later date. So this kind of confirms that there is going to be like a 5 or so month off season, like everybody was thinking. So, yeah, no real big surprises here.
Yeah. I mean, they talked about it on the Chalked cast, right? So, like, teams that form now, like, you still have, like, 5 to 6 months, potentially, of time before the next RLCS event. So, I think it's not unreasonable that teams would form and then break up before RLCS even happens. I mean, what do you guys think? That's a long time to wait.
Okay, what were those bells in your background?
I was wondering. I was like, are we now? Is this our Christmas episode?
It
What was with the
so
sleigh
confusing.
bells?
So, we have a bell, and my dog rings the bell when he needs to go outside.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
Oh, that's
that makes sense.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Good dog.
That was funny. All right,
Yeah.
what was the question?
Like, it's been, like, this is an off season of 5 to 6 months, potentially even longer because the details haven't been released yet. But, like, I feel like it's not unreasonable to think that some rosters will form and then break up before RLCS even comes back.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
I could definitely see
I
that
don't think it'll
happening.
happen a lot, but
I think it's more likely that we're gonna not see rosters get solidified because of how much time we have. There's a lot of time for people to be bouncing around and figuring out what they like and what they don't like and what works and what doesn't work. So I think that in the events that we're about to start talking about, because there's quite the lineup of events coming up in the off season. I think we're going to see all kinds of different mix and match combinations coming up in these off-season events. That's going to really get. I mean, one, it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about and theorize. But I think that that's going to. I don't know. I just can't see people making a decision as far as a roster this early on when there's no need to, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like, right, if you're not in an organization, you're not getting paid, right? But if you are
would
signed
it
to
even
an
be
org,
possible?
to what?
Like, team forms like within a week of now, and then like, would it even be possible to split up and form a different team sometime before RLCS season starts? Because like they all have to sign contracts, right?
Yeah, I'm like more thinking of like maybe orgless teams. So like you think about like a Hogan mode. You think
Okay,
about
yeah,
like
yeah.
Atomic teaming with Stizzy and Tox. Like
That makes sense.
there could be like hundreds of iterations of rosters that go like that. And I mean, like,
Yeah,
G1
sure.
pulled out. Oxygen doesn't really, there's so many unrestricted and restricted even free agents that, like, once teams sign up, like, are they even going to be the same, the same team?
Right.
Where it's like, G2 as of right now, I think it's JNaps who may or may not retire, Atomic, and no Chicago, right? But if, JNaps decides to sign elsewhere with Chicago, that's not G2 anymore. That's a new, you know, but, maybe an org picks them up instead. So, like, I think that, thinking about the fact that it's set to be 6 months for the off season, that's like 2 splits. That's 2/3 of last season.
A lot of time.
Yeah, but I mean, the other side of it is from, thinking about from a business perspective is that like if you are an org, why would you sign up a team and pay them for 6 months when, there's not going to be I mean, maybe on events. I don't know
Some
how
events,
all the
yeah.
practice together, but I mean, that's still from what I understand, which is very little about the business side of esports, it's not a huge money maker. So you really have to be uh, very careful and pick and choose where you're going to spend your money, right? So I don't know if I would pay 3 players for 6 months to form a team and practice when those players will probably still be around a month before this season begins, unless you're getting a cut from these off-season events, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know.
I mean, it's like a double-edged sword, right? So like you'd have to pay the players for 6 months of, them not really competing in RLCS events. But on the flip side, you look at something like Carmine Corp, right? So if Carmine Corp does sign Rise, does sign a Tau, that's 2 big names off the market, right? That's
True.
two players that will not go somewhere else if they have signed, which I don't know if they have or not, right? But so like, putting it off, you potentially expose yourself to not being able to sign the players that you'd want, right? Or like, the first domino, so to speak, has kind of been poked in EU and it's fallen over, so you don't want to be the last person, before all the dominoes fall. So I certainly get what you're saying about, not wanting to pay people for 6 months, but also at the same time, you don't want to be the last person sitting at the table without a team.
That's true. That actually means that the teams that have uh, some championships under the belt or are otherwise well backed are going to have a quite the advantage in this offseason because they can form those teams earlier without worrying about the budget, right?
Yeah.
But
And that
again,
actually
I'm interested to see how this all goes.
also leads into another topic that is kind of been going around on Twitter. Carmine Corp is currently building, it is under construction, their own esports venue in Europe. Their own venue to host esports, to host, all of their different teams at LAN events if they are so required, watch events, watch parties, things like that. That's, we talk about the business side a little bit, not a ton, but this is certainly, in my eyes, a pretty big step in the direction of making this a more sustainable venture for them, right? Because you can sell tickets to your own events. You can do some stuff that I know, AJ, you've been to some Minnesota rocker events, watch parties, things like that. I think that this is a step in the right direction in terms of like sustainability for Carmine Corp.
Yeah, it's pretty
Absolutely.
cool.
I mean,
That's a fantastic investment, honestly, into esports in general. Because I know that there's a weird kind of overall rumor running around, or at least feeling that esports is dying or dead. And I'm like, I don't think so. People are still, I think we're just seeing the start of it. It might be lulling right now, just a little bit, because we have a 5 month off season. Which why do we have such a long off season between these two seasons compared to others?
I mean, maybe you're revamping RLCS so that it seems a little bit more sustainable, so that the players maybe have a little bit more off time. I mean, if
Yep.
you think about it, they had maybe like a month's worth of off time. If you were competing in all the events, right? If you didn't qualify, then it's a little bit different story. But you know, we think about last year, right? The World Championships were in August, right? The beginning of August, and then mid September we were turning around in the other season, right? That's like a month of off season. So I mean, I think maybe this is too much, but also at the same time, we saw a lot of Rocket League in the last like calendar year. So maybe they're
Yep.
trying to make it more sustainable. Maybe they're trying to, tinfoil hat it and Rocket League 2's coming out. But Rise has said and said again, if we don't know anything about that, we don't know, like, we know as much as you guys know.
Fantastic. Well, do we want to jump into our off-season content here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, hang on. Do we know why the new arena got disabled?
It wasn't there were some bugs in it, like there are usually with new arenas, with like some walls not being correct and things like that.
Gotcha. Well, good. I hated it. I hope it stays gone.
But with that, talking about the off season, how can we possibly survive half a year without RLCS? Well, you're in luck. RL Esports, in addition to their tweet about RLCS returning in 2024, announced a slate of community tournaments and events that you can compete in, that you can sign up for, that you can watch and just enjoy some Rocket League. Starting out with CRL, Collegiate Rocket League, Fall 2023. CRL is a 32-team, 2-conference, broken up into East and West in North America, with league play running from October 9th through November 10th, with the championships for CRL Fall coming November 19th or 17th through the 19th. There are open qualifiers for CRL if you are a college Rocket League team looking to compete in this. The first open qualifier is on September 21st, and the second open qualifier is September 28th. Both of those qualifying directly into CRL League play, and then from there trying to qualify for the championships in mid-November.
And then after that, we're looking at Salt Mine 3. That's a 1v1 tournament. It's hosted by the Chalked Cast, Johnny Boy. It's going to feature two 12-player 1v1 tournaments with one event hosted on East Coast servers, so ES servers, and the second is on EU servers. If you want more information about that, like when it's going to, the actual dates, things like that, I would keep track of Johnny Boy's Twitter. That's where we're going to see more info on that.
And we got the draw season 2, which is Rizzo and James Bott's 3v3 tournament. That includes 4 events with a $14,000 prize pool for each event. And all events will have an open qualifier. And for more info on that, make sure you check out Rizzo and James Bott's Twitter.
And then we also have Star Chaser Showdown. This is going to be organized by Radiant, and it's a women's Rocket League tournament for North American and EU brightest up and coming women stars with an open qualifier, a main event, and a $30,000 prize pool. Keep an eye out on the Radiant Twitter for more information on that.
Next up, we have the Gauntlet. It's organized by Rocket League Oceania, RLO. It's a 3v3 OCE tournament that will last 6 weeks with weekly single elimination brackets to earn points. Each week will have open qualifiers to qualify into these events, and there will be a top 8 finals with a $30,000 prize pool. Make sure to check out RLO Twitter for more information.
And we also have the Regional Rumble organized by Asia Pro League, APL. It's a 3v3 tournament for MENA, APAC, and SSA. It'll consist of 15 small tournaments for these regions with a total prize pool of $24,000. And these tournaments feed into 3 larger tournaments where all 3 regions compete against each other for an additional $50,000 in prize pools. And you can check out the APL Twitter account for more info.
And then we also have Bandits on Wheels. It's the Fall Showdown. It's organized by Tactical Banditry. That is a 3v3 North American tournament with 6 events from October through December with $7,000 in prizes. We are looking at open qualifier with 16 team main events. Again, as we've been saying, pretty much a pattern at this point. Keep an eye out on Tactical Banditry's Twitter for more information about that.
Next, we're looking at the Rocket Street Latin American Championships of 2023. It's a 3v3 for Latin American teams with 3 regions: Brazil, Latin America North, Latin America South. Each of these regions will compete across 3 separate events to have a chance to play against the other regions to become the Latin American Rocket League champs. Check out Rocket Street on Twitter for more information on that.
Flip and Spin. Fantastic name, by the way. Organized by, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Webedia?
Yeah, that's how I would pronounce it.
Cool. 3v3 EU tournament with open qualifiers with the winner of each qualifying for the main event. 8-team main event with a single elimination bracket style. And you can check out the Webedia Twitter account for more information on that. Sorry
Well
if
done.
I pronounced that wrong.
You handled that fantastically. I think you nailed it. And then rounding out our off-season content, which, by the way, I think I'm counting, 8 to 10 events. So that's like 1 or 2 a month. So I think we're going to be well satisfied if they're spread out. But anyway, we got the Rendezvous. It's organized by Rocket Baguette. It's a 3v3 EU tournament and with 14 online weeklies from September 21st through December 21st. Single elimination bracket. Each weekly tournament has a prize pool of $2,100, $2,100. Check out Rocket Baguette Twitter for additional details on that.
Post in our Discord as well as on Twitter all of the links to these Twitter accounts for you to stay up to date with the dates, the open qualifiers, the tournaments, the champions, all that stuff. If you can't tune in to watch them, all of these events will be streamed on Twitch, I'm sure, in some form or another. But that's how you can kind of stay up to date with pro or pro adjacent Rocket League throughout the off season here. In the next
Pro adjacent.
Yeah.
That's us. We're pro adjacent.
Yeah. Which
Speak for yourself.
Hey, we got press passes. That makes us pro adjacent.
Well-
we get right up there with them,
Right, if you say so.
adjacently.
okay, I'm here for it. But in the next couple episodes, we will talk to you guys about some leagues that maybe your non-pro adjacent Rocky League players can compete in. Things like MLE, Frontiers Doubles League, Old Farts Rocky League, stuff like that. We'll bring you some more information on that stuff, how you can get involved, and some testimonials from people in those leagues. But with that, we'd like to wrap up this shorter episode
Hold
of.
up, let's not wrap it up yet.
Okay.
How do we
Yeah,
feel
I have
about
one
this,
thing to say about this.
This off-season shit.
Oh,
How we
I'm
feeling
loving the
just
off-season
generally?
thing, but I wanted to add one small thing about our little teaser there. When we start talking about the stuff that non-pro adjacent players can play, if you ever want to end up playing this game that we all love and enjoy with your favorite podcasters, us three, joining those leagues will be the way to do it. But if you do, you're not allowed to beat me. So you just have to throw any match against me, no matter what team you're on, if you end up in a league with me, which I currently play in MLE. So shout out to that. And we'll talk more about that later. But yes, just if you're a listener of the show, you just have to let me win. I have an ego.
He may
I will
even
call you out by name on this podcast if you beat me in one of the leagues we play in. I'll be like, this person is a big old jerk and hurt my feelings.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I'm gonna go undefeated this season in MLE.
I think you are too. I think that you are going to win every game you play this season.
Yeah.
All
We'll
right.
see how that pans out.
Yep. But AJ, you had a question that you wanted to pose before we wrap up.
No more Gold Rush this year. I'm sad about that.
Yeah, I
That'd
kind
be
of.
cool if that happened in the Mall of America again.
Yeah. And I mean,
They did it last year.
one thing that you kind of don't see on here, and it's been a little while, but like something like a Beyond the Summit kind of like in person, more relaxed like
Yeah.
LAN event. Maybe taking advantage of like some dream hacks or packs, something like that might be a kind of a cool way. But it just seems weird to me that the off season is going to be so long after the highest record of concurrent viewers in a Rocky League event ever at the World Championships. Just kind of like it seems like they're maybe letting the momentum that they had die out a little bit, but I'm sure that there's a reason for it. Maybe they're trying to revamp some stuff to bring more excitement and bigger things to Rocky League. But I mean, I certainly
If
can't
there's
wait.
not good big changes, I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah, I kind of would be too, but also maybe behind the scenes stuff. Maybe they're trying to work out better venue locations, things like that we don't really get to see. So I mean, I'm just hopeful that we get a NA event first up, so that we can all get together again and go and enjoy some Rocky League. But Ace, you said you were a fan of the longer off season.
Did I say this? I may have. That sounds like something I may have said in the past. Honestly, I am. I would say that yes, I'm a fan of a longer off season because we started this podcast at the beginning of last season, right? After having such a good time going to World Championships in Texas, where it's like, yeah, we should do something more about this, right? We should really lean into this. But when we said we were going to do that, I didn't realize that meant like a couple weeks later because that's how short the off season was. It felt like last time. Um, this feels a little long. I think that 5 or 6 months of no RLCS is a bit longer. So I do think we're all right on that. They're going to be doing some pretty big changes. I will be very disappointed if next season comes around and there's no changes and it was just a long off season. But we'll see. But I think at least 3 months between, right? Um, and then we could, if they did 3 months, they could probably stretch out the main season and have it be an annual deal. We have our World Championship in August or September, and then you have the winter months off or the beginning of winter off, and then we start back in January, something along those lines. I think that would make it a bit more I don't know what the word I'm going for here.
Sustainable?
Consistent. Right. Well, one, sustainable, yeah, because I mean, every one of these events has staff and members for Psionics or Epic or whoever, whoever is directly in charge of these things. Like those people also have lives.
This is
So
true.
like, so yeah, I don't know. I think I like it. I think that 5 or 6 months is too long, if unless they are really revamping some things, which I would love to see, because I do think that while they had the highest viewers that they've had ever, right? And they were building that momentum, and I would love to see them continue building upon that momentum. I think that breathing new life into it overall is potentially the better move if that's what they are doing, right? Um, but we'll see. I've been disappointed recently by a lot of game companies with their changes, so to speak, and they're usually not in. They usually don't go in the way of this makes it better for the gamers. I don't see that coming from Epic though, because they have, historically not gone that route. But we'll see.
Yeah.
If they do, we'll have tons of content of me just ranting and raving. So, there's that for anyone who likes to hear me bitch.
Fair. AJ, any final thoughts on off-season length?
No, not really. Too long.
Yeah. All right, then. Well, with that, we'll wrap up this shorter episode of this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, join our Discord, rate us wherever you listen to podcasts, as it really helps us grow our brand. Make sure to check out our YouTube, our Twitch, our TikTok, and soon-to-be merch store, inbound soon. All of these links and more can be found on our website at www.boostoverball.com. And from us on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball.
Thank you for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website, www.boostoverball.com, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts.